not.
Wizards of the Coast hates their fans.
Welcome to Time Sweeps.
We've made Imagine Dragons.
Wrong band.
Yeah, I was going to say that's a different band. I don't think he cares.
Give me a second. I need to get my SpongeBob. SpongeBob.
I don't know why SpongeBob's in this now. I'm very confused.
I was trying to do Patrick.
I know, but I don't know why.
I thought we were just doing a cycle of bands.
Is that what we're doing?
You know what I listened to on the way home from work today? Gary Come Home. One of the biggest bops of SpongeBob ever. Gary, now I know I was wrong.
I legitimately
messed up, and now you're gone.
The story of the making of that song. Someone called up the guy that originally sang it, wrote it, whatever, and he was like, "We need you to make a song about a snail." And he was like, "You're just messing with me. I need a job, and you're messing with me. What is wrong with you? Why are you doing this to me?" And they're like, No. This is Nickelodeon. They were like, "Nickelodeon my ass."
Man.
And he was like, "Here I am doing a concert for a bunch of 20-something-year-olds, and they're all singing about a snail."
It's a banger. That's one of the bangers. Another banger that came out of SpongeBob, the Rip My Pants. When I ripped my pants.
There's a song that gets stuck in my head, and it's from they called it the 77th anniversary.
Of what?
That was the title of the special, is the 77th anniversary.
It was SpongeBob?
Yeah, that's what they call it. So I think that was them being like, it's been on for 11 years or something like that.
It's been on for 20 years.
Well, yeah, now. At that point, we were still in elementary school.
24 years.
Yep.
24 years of SpongeBob.
SpongeBob's been able to buy a drink at the bar for a while now.
Well, I mean, what did his ID say that one time?
Well, yeah, he's an actual adult that also can't drive and is basically
a child.
Yeah.
A child.
It's a miracle that he lives on his own.
He makes hella money. Do you see all the cash that he makes?
Yeah, all that money he makes, but at the same time,
it's just because he doesn't spend it. Because Mr. Krabs isn't paying him anything. It's just that he never has nothing to spend money on.
It's obvious that his neighborhood isn't that good because,
there's only 3 houses.
Yeah, there's 3 houses, and Patrick is barely a house.
Mr. Squidward, open the damn door.
Open the door.
Make me fat.
I'm gonna kick your ass.
Are we ready?
We've been back for a while.
Yeah, we've been back for a minute. We just, we can cut this if you want.
A little off-topic tangent.
When do we not talk about SpongeBob? That's basically the status update of our entire generation.
Yep.
That's how you can know when someone's not old enough or too old. If they don't talk about SpongeBob, they don't get it. It also means that they're so far from 9/11 or definitely remember it.
Yeah. Anyway,
that's how
Jesus Christ.
That's how you know.
So Wizards has been doing some kind of effy things these past couple weeks.
Excuse me.
Probably 4 weeks, 5 weeks.
About a month-ish time.
Yeah.
A month worth of time. Yeah, Wizards of the Coast is the entity that owns D&D, owned by Hasbro, that kind of stuff. They've also been in the hot water with Magic recently, so it's not looking good for them in terms of all their services and other stuff that they make, like Marvel crap, Star Wars crap. It just keeps getting more expensive, and they're like, "Hey guys, what are you doing over there? Who are you making this for anymore?" Because it's starting to get to a point where no one wants to buy your crap. Because if you're going to charge this much, we could go get something better.
Right. Which is did they not learn through this with 4th edition? Because they kind of did something effy like that for 4th edition, and no one played that edition.
Right.
They literally it was called a game agreement instead of the open it was like a game
open
system
gaming, open game license, which came
That's
about.
That's the new one, but for 4th edition, it was game system license, the GSL or something like that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and that was equally as effy as this first draft of the open gaming license. And
no, the open
Pathfinder
gaming license is what they used to have.
Well, the new open game license.
No,
That's
for
the thing. They're taking away the openness of it. It's getting rid of
they're
it.
saying
It started in 2002.
Right.
The open game license, the OGL.
Yeah.
That started in 2002, around the time of 3.5 existing.
Right, but then they changed the name of it for
Right.
4th edition,
And
then Pathfinder was invented. Literally, that game came about because no one wanted to play that edition of D&D, and that's why there's still people to this day who play 3.5. Because people just didn't move on, and people who did want to move on, they're like, "Hey, look at this Pathfinder game."
It's true.
And then, like, Critical Role started on Pathfinder. Might be going back. I don't know. There's
I doubt that they would go back because now they're like a
integrated.
brand.
Yeah.
It's become a brand. And I think this all started with D&D going down, like, I don't want to say downhill, but like corporation-wise.
Right.
This has became a problem once I think D&D Beyond was acquired. So I think this was part of a plan with one D&D wanting to get D&D Beyond and make it easy as possible to make characters and do all this. Because it's about
arguably the hardest part for new players, is to make that character sheet.
Right. If you don't know what to do,
right,
you're
or
just
have
looking
no one
at
there
an
to guide
empty
you.
sheet of
Right.
all sorts of stuff. Which they would benefit from just having a page of just like having like arrows show you where everything is. But who am I?
Or like a page in their book that has a printout of the character sheet and
With an
has
example.
Well, it has a filled out one, but it like has like page numbers on like which sections of the character sheets on which page in the book, so you don't have to.
So that way
skim
you
through the
know
whole
what to
book.
look at for what's
Right.
going on here.
Like-
Because they give you blank in the back, so that way you could copy it out of the book.
Right.
But that only can take you so far if you know where everything is.
Exactly. Which is kind of
We're gonna see how that changes with one D&D as it comes out in the next few
It's
years.
next year.
It's next year.
2024 is
I
the
thought it
release
was
date for
25.
1D. This is the last year of 5th edition. Is like the big thing,
Quote unquote.
Yeah. Right.
Even though basically all the modules that exist for 5th edition, just because of how much they sold.
So are they gonna keep like the character, like 5e character creation on
It's-
D&D Beyond?
I'm curious
I
because
wonder if there'll be,
D&D
like, a
Beyond
separate tab,
existed.
you know?
Yeah, since it became to exist out of 5, essentially.
But I have no. That would be like, because I was thinking about that the other day when I was looking at all this stuff. I was like, there might be like a separate tab that'd be like the one D&D character, because it's not going to be too different. It's just going to be different enough that
Because
you'll
on
notice.
like Roll20, granted it's not facilitated by officials or anything like that, but it has stuff that you can play your character sheet in 3.5, and so on. It
Which would
has
be
different
cool
editions on
for
it.
them to integrate that into D&D Beyond.
Yeah,
too.
imagine having that on there.
Yeah, so or like, I don't know. They don't have to go back to 1st edition, even though there's people who play. But
There's people who do it.
Probably, honestly, I'm gonna say 100%, but it's probably wrong. 100% of people who play 1st edition are probably still on paper and pencil.
Right.
Like, because that's what they
They're-
grew up doing. That's what they're gonna continue to do until they don't play anymore.
Right. That is what they're accustomed to.
Right.
So there's probably not much of them who have ever integrated to online.
Moved.
Integrated to online.
There we go. Thank you. Words doesn't want to come out of my mouth
I got you.
most of the time.
Um,
It's great.
but I'm excited to.
As I true to basically be
because-
on a talk show.
Which sucks because I'm really excited for 1D&D. I'm really excited to learn
Right.
the new rules.
So has it gotten better over time?
1D&D.
Yes and no.
Yes.
There's things that are better and there's things that are worse, and there's things that are just like you just got to see how it goes when you play it.
They have buffed and nerfed Dragonborns at the same time, because the whole thing with Dragonborns, there was like what's that book? I forget the name of it. There's a red dragon on the front of it, and he's kind of like in this form. You know what I'm saying?
Is it Dragonlance?
It's not. It might be Dragonlance, but I don't know. They
I'm not entirely sure.
reworked Dragonborns in that book to be able to use their breath weapon as many times as their proficiency modifier.
Yeah.
And then with 1D&D, they changed that back to once a day. But Dragonborns now have dark vision, and they now have wings that they could form. So like, say your character Bazor, if it was 1D&D, he would have dark vision, and 2, he would be able to summon wings made of electric energy.
I feel like dark vision makes sense for Dragonborns.
Right.
It never
'cause
made sense for them not to have it. It's
based on their ancestry, they should have
exactly
dark vision. Don't dragons naturally, being the magical creatures that they are, have dark vision? Like,
I don't know.
it just makes sense.
I agree, which I'm glad that's the thing. But I think now giving the dragon race or species is the new name that they're gonna use. So giving the dragon species a fly speed now
It's nice. It's a nice
because that also
change-up.
makes sense.
But also their walking speed, so they're just gonna be OP all around.
Yeah, there's more incentive to play them essentially.
Because that like that's two big drawbacks to not play them now. Is because they're kind of, especially if you go by players' handbook rules, they are kind of underpowered. It's kind of just like a human that could breathe.
It's
A weapon
essentially
once a
yeah.
day.
It's a variant human that gets like a point to charisma and has a breath weapon.
Yeah. So it just gives them more incentive to play, like Wyatt said.
It's no longer just flavor.
Oh, Goliaths are now in the
Like official.
Yeah,
It's
will
not
be
like
in
an
the new-
add-on.
Yeah, we'll be in the new player handbook for 1D&D.
There's also basically a class that's just like you come from like a species, not a class, but like this. You come from the astral plane.
Oh, is this the animal head one?
Yeah, you just get an animal head.
Yeah, it's a human with the animal head, and you get abilities based on what head you choose, basically.
Right. So it's like that's neat.
So
but
if I'm a
it's-
pigeon, I can peck you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. It's like it just doesn't make sense. They changed dwarves. There's only one type of dwarf now.
Ardlings are the race that we were just, or the
Ardlings.
species we were just talking. I'm gonna have to get used to saying that. The species that we were just talking about. But yeah, there's only one dwarf. There's only one halfling now. There's not
Yeah.
light and stout anymore.
They're taking away the idea of half this, half that
Mhm.
in terms of like being a considered stat block like right there in front of you. You would have to do just a touch more like, okay, what attributes do you want from this? What attributes do you want from that? How much can you mix? Because you can take an appearance from one and stats from another kind of a thing.
Right, which would be funny to be like, I choose the appearance of a gnome, but I take the stats from my Goliath father.
Right.
But that's also like they also talked about that. There's like a whole interview with the guy, I forget his name, and he's like, we want to give more incentive to play different classes with different species, which is like you would never play gnome barbarian or
That's why they're
halfling
taking a lot of
barbarian.
those stat bonuses, and it's going to
Mhm.
rely on your,
Your
background and like class and stuff like that versus anything coming from the species that you choose. Which I kind of like that, but it just is different, so it's going to be different.
I think the way that they're designing the game is awesome. How the community is so involved in this creation process.
Right. You can see Wizards of the Coast kind of gets it
Right.
to a certain degree, that they want the influence of players and stuff. But then you come to right now in the news where it's been for 20 years they've had for
Open
mostly
gaming
20
license.
years. They've had this open gaming thing where you could make like auxiliary, like third-party companies could make auxiliary stuff.
Vis-a-vis Critical Role, the Cobalt people, I forget their name. There's a bunch of big ones that they're kind of targeting, I feel like, because they say that they get like 25% of earnings
Cobalt Press.
if you make over $750,000 off of it a year. Which
There's
is
going to be like a lot of large groups.
Yeah.
and then if you
targeted.
make under you don't have to do this stuff if you make under 50,000 a year off of it.
So,
Which
like,
on
if you're
one
like
hand-
if you're like some dude who can spend all of his life savings to get a booth at Comic-Con just to give out his cards, yeah, like that's you wouldn't have to do that, but
Right. And this isn't going to apply to people that also like sell dice.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
That comes down
dice,
to a
because
different.
dice are not just D&D.
This is
so-
people
Right.
who
But like
create modules
Adam's-
for people to play.
Adam's set of like deck of many things
Right.
wasn't an official deck. It was made by a third-party company. If
And
they
that's a
made
no-no.
right,
No.
if they made so much money off of that, that would become a huge problem. If it wasn't free under U.S. laws.
Right, and they're basically saying in this thing, if you don't like do what they say, prepare for a lawsuit, basically. And like so apparently there was a bunch of sneaky sneaks going around with them talking to bigger companies like Critical Role and Cobalt. I can't
Cobalt
remember.
Press.
Cobalt Press, and then there's one more that's really big.
Yeah, I can't remember who the third one is.
But like it's like they got to know about this stuff before, and honestly, I bet Critical Role and them get like especially Critical Role because they've actually published 2 books with them now.
Right.
So I think they might get like a little side.
And they've also had third-party essentially stuff
Right.
with Cobalt Press, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
They've had official stuff and they've had third-party
Well,
stuff.
then I was watching one video that it was like this campaign is kind of like about the gods, right? And the gods are one of the, if not the only thing left besides like basic game mechanics in Critical Role universe that isn't Matthew Mercer made. It's only the gods. So like he's trying the theory is that this campaign's leading to the death of the gods. So it's like if he's trying to kill these gods off that are really his only tie to this world in D&D, then he'll have complete reign to do whatever he wants. If the Critical Role will have complete control of their
homebrew content.
Yeah. Because
just so that way they could have
they
what
can
they
go
need.
around this, right? Which
is smart, but it also comes down to how is this going to go?
Well, and my whole thing is that like D&D knows, like Wizards knows that they haven't made any like third parties have been making stuff way better than they've been producing for the past several years now.
Right.
Like better adventure, like better like dungeon crawlers or whatever, better adventures to go on, better books, like
my favorite thing to get from Wizards in terms of books is like this auxiliary stuff that's more for like monsters.
Right.
Because it's easier to just get stat blocks off of those when you're going to make your own. And there's enough people on the internet and free resources that I'm basically just giving them money because I like them.
Mm-hmm.
You can get free stuff on the internet just because Wikipedia exists. I can get all these monsters and write them on a note card. Nobody in the situation is making money off of it, and that's part of the problem that they're seeing. That all these new areas that it's free and all these people making stuff for money and they're not getting a piece of it.
Right.
And it has to come from like Hasbro, who owns Wizards now, is what I'm thinking.
Right.
Because like the huge Magic disputes that they were having recently, that they were producing cards that they were like, hey, these will never be produced again. And they're making drops come out so soon after one of another that people are just losing money. Like a normal pack of cards is like going up in cost like by almost 100% of what it used to be or more. Like there was packs of cards I remember during 2020 that would cost $40 a pack, just for like a normal sized pack. But they were special edition.
Like an 8-card pack?
Yeah.
The fuck?
They would be like special edition packs, and it's like, okay, how special is special when 8 cards cost you $40?
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing with Magic. It's kind of like and they keep coming out with new cards, and they keep mitigating the cards that they just made. So it's like it's a constant money dump.
Right.
And like keep in mind, this open gaming license really doesn't affect your homebrew.
It doesn't affect what you do at home.
Right. It's
the people. They can't stop you in your own house.
It's the people who are making the stuff that you use.
Like there's
people that have made their livelihoods off of this in the past few years.
This is the thing is like people created careers out of this. People like have a great source of extra money coming in monthly, and like there's actually a Instagram account that we follow.
Yeah, and they said that they might stop posting.
Yeah, which is
and they're like my
crappy.
favorite source of like magic weapons and
magic
stuff.
weapons and
they're just so fun
because they're all good. We should put it. What's his?
Yeah, I don't remember what it is.
We should
now.
shout him out.
We need to talk about that.
It's like the fantasy warehouse or some. It's not that, but it's something like that.
We don't have that big of a viewer base, but I want people to know about him because his account, it's great. All the stuff that I'm even using his unseen sword in a current one shot that became longer.
His handle is the Fantastic Emporium, and if you follow Wyatt and I, you would see that we follow him, so you know it's the right account. But he just makes the best magic weapons and the armors, and he also has Patreon. And that's another thing is that like there's this one guy Bob creates worlds or something. Bob creates something. Bob makes worlds or something. He's on YouTube.
That sounds right.
Yeah.
Bob makes worlds.
And he's like a third of my income is off Patreon from me selling cute little adventures for people, like one-offs for people to go on, that I make just for fun.
Just little campaigns that he writes for people.
And that's a third of his income monthly is what he was saying. So,
like this is what people do for their lives. And
like Star Wars basically.
Right, yeah, there's people that make money out of Star Wars in this same proxy, and when Disney bought Star Wars, they wanted to try and do that, and there was enough people within the company that were like, don't touch it. Don't do it. Like there was the whole fan film thing that like you could see a division split in the company between Lucasfilm and Disney at one point because I think it was Star Wars Theory that was trying to put out Amethyst Eyes or Amethyst Blade or something like that.
He was
the Mace Windu story.
He produced a Vader fan film, and Disney, because of like they created a whole new like policy for fan films for it. And basically it's like you can't use any sort of basically you can't really make any money off of it,
Right.
which is sad because like
There's still been a little few margins of areas to that
you can't.
now.
I mean, there's ways you can fund it, but they have to be outside of like the purpose, basically.
it's a little
can't
more
crowd-
open than that than when they
Yeah.
first stated that.
Yeah.
As long as it's not like, when like, what do they have to fear? They're a billion-dollar corporation.
They don't want to admit that fans are making shit that's better than their shit.
To a
Which
certain
is
degree.
kind of like what Wizards is doing right now.
And I think that might be what Wizards is afraid of in this situation. That they're seeing people like buying all these resources and they're like, well, crap, I can't even sell a variant of this book. It's like, maybe if the book was better.
Original, not a variant of another book. Not taking the same thing that you said in that book and retweaking like 5 things in that book and reselling it.
And if you could just make like a book that would have more things in it, like they're charging $60 for 3 small books. That was the base price for like Spelljammer, and people were really upset about that. And I think this is all recourse from that kind of stuff where you can see books getting smaller and costing more, and people being like, this isn't worth it, and
Right.
going to something else.
Mm-hmm.
But they still want to use all this other D&D stuff, and then people are like, And then you also have the recourse of popularity. With like, it all comes back to Stranger Things in a weird way with modern D&D, I think. The rise in players, the rise in prices, the rise in these, well, not so much prices. They've stayed rather consistent. But that's what I think is what's changed it, is once it got popular a few years back with the rise of Critical Role and Stranger Things, it changed the game.
Yeah.
It wasn't just like, oh, these guys are making a few bucks off of third-party stuff. It's fine. It's like, it became a career.
See, that's what really this open gaming license is targeting. They're not targeting the people with 10 viewers on their stream.
Right.
They're targeting the people who making consistent money for years now, and that's what it's kind of saying. It's like they're scared to how like they're gonna feed their families. You know,
They are attacking the people that helped build the world that exists right now for that community.
right? Which is dumb.
Like, imagine
It's silly.
building a gazebo and then you're just like, this gazebo's really nice. I like how much prosperity it's brought me. And then you pull out a sledgehammer and just take out a support beam.
Yep.
And then you're just like, why is it falling? Like, well, I don't know what to tell you.
It's like if Hallmark stopped making Christmas cards.
It's like if they started suing every company that makes Christmas cards.
Yeah.
Which sometimes they do.
Yeah.
Different way, but that kind of principle.
Yeah.
It's like if you were an independent seller of Christmas cards and they were just, did you just make a card?
No, it's like it's like they sue a company that buys their cards and signs every single one of them and gives them to their employees.
There we go.
Basically, yeah.
It's going to build up, and it might fizzle out because
Honestly,
they're getting
I
such
think-
an adverse effect, and normally they can listen fairly decently.
Yeah, well, like as they've shown us, they know how to listen to the community with the because these rules for 1D&D are changing.
Right,
like you
they're
said,
getting
every 2 weeks.
Play tested.
They're getting play tested. They're getting changed. They're listening to the feedback of their players. Like, I think the way they're doing 1D&D is great. Like
Yeah.
the way that this is going to be built up to be released next year, I think is awesome. I think it's one of the most hands-on I've ever seen a company be for a game.
Yeah,
of
other
this
than
stature,
indie
you know?
makers.
Yeah,
This is a company, not just
Like,
some dude or some
this-
small team.
They really need to figure out this. Oh, sorry, they really need to figure out this open gaming license as soon as possible, or else they're gonna lose a big following of people. You know,
And I saw people making memes out of that like people are normally used to it being Games Workshop doing something like this.
mm-hmm.
So it was like D&D open gaming license getting stricter, and they were like, it was this Simpsons meme that like Marge is so used to Bart doing something that like someone else does something, and she's like, Bart, no, and it's like, I'm right here, I'm not even doing it, and I was like,
Right.
sorry, of course I have it. So it's like, Games Workshop, no. It's like, sorry.
Well, now they're trying to hide behind their mistake, saying this is the first draft of the open gaming license.
Which, be it true, it's also, that's their bullet shield.
They still have Hasbro having them by the balls.
Right.
So
Which honestly, I think Hasbro. This is one of the big. Hasbro. Oh my God!
They own
Hasbro.
all these properties.
You can make
and they
so
do
much
such
money
a
off
bad
of this
job.
without touching anything. You could just start selling painted minis
Which
and cheaper.
they do,
like,
but they look bad.
they look bad.
You could also
You
start 3D printing minis.
Right, yeah, they started making frameworks, which is a series of minis you can build yourself. Imagine if they sold STL files officially.
Right.
They're going to go after people that are like auxiliary gaming equipment too.
Yeah.
Imagine maybe not Hero Forge just because of how broad it is, but you have people that market to that way they say the words, your Dungeons and Dragons minis.
Right.
And they make adventures sometimes that go with it if you pay for more. And it's compatible with 5e. Like, what's that one company that, like, every month you get, like, a new army of miniatures to use for, like, some kind of small campaign? I don't remember what they're called. I get ads for them all the time.
Is it like a box that you subscribe to?
Yeah, but it's
no,
like files, essentially.
Oh, like to print?
Yeah. I don't remember what they're called, but every month there's always something new. And they'll give you, like, statues and props that you can print off with it. They'll give you stats for characters that are equipped for D&D and other stuff like that, usually 5e.
Right. Well, because honestly, there's never been a more successful version of D&D
Yeah.
than 5e. 5e has done what all the other editions did before it and more. Like, it's the biggest edition. It's not the longest lasting.
Yeah, I don't think it's the longest lasting. I don't think.
But
Technically 3, I think, is
Yeah,
counted as the
probably.
longest lasting in terms of longevity afterwards.
But-
Because even when 4 came out.
right. Well, and then it's brought the most influx of
Or is the
of
Windows Vista
players,
of
I think.
D&D.
Yes.
Yes, exactly that.
And there was also a lot cooler stuff made by the company for 3 and 3.5.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there was a big book of just, these are all undead enemies.
Yeah.
Like, we got monsters in the multiverse, but that they all kind of are boring. But then you got stuff in this book that's called, like, the Boneyard.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not a Hydra, but, like, imagine a dragon or whatever you want, like a giant hand. Basically a bone golem, but it's smarter than a golem.
Right.
And it can just poop out skeletons at you. This thing is a walking mini-boss. It's intelligent.
Mini-boss.
It can cast spells. It can work with undead. And I think it was Dungeon Dads or whatever they call themselves. They do like a Monster of the Week, and that's how I even learned about it.
Mm.
And this book is an amazing book. I found like PDFs of it online because you can't touch a physical copy
Isn't there
of
a
it.
pink dragon in this book too? Or no, that was a homebrew.
Yeah, that was a homebrew
that
thing.
Dungeons and Dragons was put in a magazine.
Yeah, imagine if that magazine still existed.
Right.
That would still be like
That was a magazine designed to promote good homebrew.
right, made by the company essentially.
Yeah, but back then it wasn't Wizards of the Coast, was
Right.
it?
It
Yeah.
was
I don't
TSL,
think.
right?
Yeah, I think it was before that existed. Like TSL was still like the thing.
Right.
This was when D&D was still relatively, satanic panic era.
Mm-hmm.
So like all these creatures they're old and kind of hard to use if you don't know what you're looking at. But if you know what you're looking at, you do it. You can use them.
Small rework, and you could use them now in current D&D.
And like even touching like old prints, like stuff that people don't want of that magazine anymore. To get like 2 of them, sometimes it's over $20,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like these are just the piece of crap ones that nobody wants.
Right.
Their old content that used to sell still sells, and that's the problem that they're facing. They haven't made much good content that's new without rehashing something else and making it either worse or making some of the new things that are good so small
Right.
compared to all the other crap that you have to buy.
See, it's like they're not learning. Like, for instance, the 1D&D thing again. They're seeing how excited people are getting for 1D&D,
Right.
and because they have a creative input, the community at least, and then they're like, yeah, you know that creative input? No. The big sellers who create awesome things for you guys? No.
This is the exact kind of thing that exists out of the creativity of others and community itself. And so when you sell the products that are supposed to work with that community, and then you have community that also has products that enhances your product, and then you're just like, nah, you know what? I think I'm going to stop the steroids.
Right. Well, because, like, I get it. Like, all these companies are making money off of your property.
Your intellectual
like,
property.
There was, like, talks that people were worried that they were just going to do, like, a 5% thing off the top.
Right.
Off the top earners, they were just going to be like, hey, 5%'s ours.
I mean, that's fine.
That's business.
better.
Yeah, that would be a huge
But they're
difference.
saying if you make over $750,000, it's 25%.
Which is
huge difference.
That's a
That bullshit.
because that's the low bar is $750,000,
right.
which people are
Which-
making. So
what is 25% of that? I don't know. I can't do math fast enough for that.
750,000.
Yeah, what is 25% of that? Just like, and imagine that for how many different companies that exist and make that much money. I can't do math fast enough in decimals.
If it was 10,000, wait,
We have a calculator out.
$187,500.
And imagine that for how many different companies. What kind of ballpark number do we even want to throw out there that could make that much money?
I don't know. There's probably I don't know, but because the three big ones that everyone's talking about is Critical Role, Cobalt, and that third guy
That we can't
that
remember
we
the
can't
name of.
remember the name of, and they're making millions of
Right.
dollars.
Yeah. What's 25% of just like, let's say, a flat rate of 1 million?
25% of 1 million.
It's like
Yeah.
it's $250,000.
Now imagine that between three different companies, and for every million they make,
Right.
it's insane.
It's a lot of money, but it's just like that's too much, But it's just them being
It's just
greedy.
it's just Hasbro being like, give me the money.
It's because they're losing money on all their other stuff.
because they don't make good content.
They're not
good
good with
content.
Star Wars products anymore. There's lightsabers that they'll sell that are like $175 or more. Those are the cheap ones, and it's like, this isn't even as good as one I could just sink a little more money into.
Right.
Are you talking Hasbro?
Yes.
I mean, I could make one that runs circles around every single Hasbro lightsaber that's ever been sold.
Yeah, but for the price.
Again, if I go cheap, I mean, granted, it wouldn't have the light up animation, because
That's kind of what they
Right.
pride themselves on.
I know, but still,
Because what you're saying, that's
Because
like
it's
a
not about
whole,
hilt and brightness, because they've got that down. That's normally the cheapest part of that kind of stuff.
yeah,
It's like the animations and stuff that they can do with it, like touching a wall and it does like the flashing, or like lightsabers hitting each other and it does the flashing and the different sound effects and being ready to do that. But it's just like, these companies can also do that.
yeah.
And these people are independent sellers. And it's just like, for the price, it's like, I could get one that's customized to my liking
Mm-hmm.
for just slightly more.
Yeah, that's kind of what, because I could make one right now. What's one of them going for right now?
Here, I'll try to find one real quick. Those are one of the things I don't remember price range off the top of my head. Because normally I don't look to buy those, because
Yeah.
it's just like, man, this sucks for the
Because
price.
a soundboard, the soundboard I bought, granted at the time it was like before inflation racked up, but it was like at most like $20, and it's like one of the top. Well, it was one of the top of line ones. I still need to build it, but it still would. It's an open source deal, so it would work really well, and even the non-open source ones are not that expensive.
Here's the Obi-Wan lightsaber that's on the market right now. Do you want to guess how much they want?
150, 200,
Oh, more.
300.
$277.
I could make one right now for probably that much, and it would run circles around it in terms of quality and
Yeah,
just
because I
feel.
know for a fact that one doesn't even have some of the features that they're wanting to put into it.
exactly.
It's like they were talking about like, oh, this is what we want to do, and it's like, I know for a fact that you haven't done that yet. Like, here's Count Dooku's for $150 from Hasbro on Amazon.
I could make one probably for $200, and it'd be better.
Like, and then you have these back stock, and then they don't go on sale either.
Yeah.
Like, you have Rey's lightsaber, like the yellow one. They want $213 for it.
That's the only Rey's lightsaber.
Right. And they unveiled that years
Is
ago.
the yellow one.
It's never gone on sale.
I like how that lightsaber had 3 seconds of screen time. And it's
Right. They could have had a huge hype for it. They could have done a
they
lot
could
of
have been
stuff with
the
it.
she could have built that before the final battle.
Yep.
No,
3 seconds of like
yellow.
what ended off being a better send-off to create another sequel movie than having like the end of a succinct trilogy.
Yep.
And it's not like let's say Revenge of the Sith, where it's just like they need to have like, oh, remember the original movies? They exist.
I made a better plot to a Star Wars movie with Rey in it. I don't know if you remember that.
Oh no, I do. Because me and my
like
brother
25 seconds.
do it all day. Mentally, I live in Star Wars.
Yeah.
And then there's all this stuff that exists.
They
and it's
raised
like,
baited us with John Boyega, so like, yeah.
they took him off the posters in China because they don't have a backbone. The Chinese government's like, I don't know, man, we can't have that black guy on the poster. And Disney was like, okay.
Well, no,
They didn't even argue.
They were like, hey, you want to see a black stormtrooper become a Jedi? We're like, yes. And then they were like, no. And we were like, oh.
The previews, we were so hyped for that.
Dude, I was so ready for Finn to be like, even in that first movie, Finn ended up being my favorite character.
A Force-sensitive
Stormtrooper that went unnoticed somehow.
Dude.
That was like an awesome plot to a movie.
Insane.
And it's like, hey, look, this girl Rey, who was, remember, we all do, wasn't in any previews at first.
She was there, but it wasn't the same as like the focus on Finn.
Right. I thought she was gonna be like what she ended up being, more like a Han Solo like character, like to
because you see her in that first trailer. She's there. She does like some of the junker things.
Honestly,
but it's like
if they both ended up being Jedi, I wouldn't have cared.
Right. If they were both Jedi.
I don't even see. I've just seen concept art of Finn as a Jedi within the robes and the lights. I'm like, oh, that's so cool. I wish that's what happened.
What I think is funny though is like the amount of people. I can name one character that has a purple lightsaber. Well, two because of Revan, but Mace Windu.
Right.
People associate that though with race. So there's all this fan art. It's like I can't tell if this is racist or not.
Well, I've
they're
seen
like, he's black. He has a purple lightsaber. It's like. Is that racist?
My favorite piece of fan art
it still
of Finn
looks cool.
was
with
him was a green lightsaber, which I thought was cool. But yeah, everyone was like purple.
It's like
purple cause black.
It's like
Purple 'cause black.
That's what they're doing because they're like, you know who else has a purple lightsaber? The other force sensitive black guy.
Like
that's it, guys. It's
you know who else, you know who else has a purple lightsaber? The motherfucker.
Yeah. No, like he's like I don't know if you saw that. It's that the late night the late show or whatever.
It's one of them.
It's the one with the skinny white British dude. The skinny white-haired British dude.
The one that's not James Corden, yeah.
Yeah, he was on that show and he brought some lightsabers out and Samuel Jackson looks at it, he's like, "Oh, I have the real one at home. It says motherfucker right here."
And he wasn't lying.
No, he's not.
It says it in Arabic and everything.
Yeah, I love it. Oh man, Samuel Jackson, we don't deserve you. Anyway, moving on.
Yeah, these kind of licensing agreements, and you see these companies that like, I get it to a certain degree. These are the licenses that these are your intellectual properties. Like Nintendo, I think is like overly strict. Disney's in the middle, and then you had D&D that was on the other side. That was like, this is our baby. You guys are taking care of. Great job.
Right. Well, and see, I think
now they're just like, I know you love my child, but
I hope we don't lose this fight because we won it once in the Star Wars, right?
Right.
We won it once, but I just feel like the Star Wars community screams way louder than the D&D community.
Oh, it does. Autistically at that.
Like
Can we keep that in?
Yes.
I'm cool with that because that's like the thing on the internet that Star Wars is fueled.
We scream like that before every
science
episode.
Fiction autism.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I want you to name an autistic man that doesn't like Star Wars.
Okay. Fair.
I hate you.
Fair.
Star Wars, baby.
Star Wars, baby.
I hate making those types of generalizations, but yeah, you got me there.
It's one of those things that stereotypes exist for a reason. And there's a reason I get called autistic on the internet. And it's Star Wars.
It's Star Wars.
Star Wars. That one's wrong. That one's wrong. I'm willing to admit that one was bad. But the point is,
I'm trying not to laugh.
So like the
just to save
D&D,
face.
the D&D community is way more quiet with their screams, and I just
they're-
feel like there's a hashtag going on Twitter. It's just hashtag Open D&D, and
Dude.
everyone's voicing to go
Does Twitter
tweet
even
at
matter now,
them.
though?
right.
with.
And like a hashtag I would
Hashtag
argue
open
is
D&D.
almost better than like people that are like, we should start a petition. It's like, petitions only work on the government.
What are you, 50? Yes. Oh yeah, I forgot our community's old.
There's all these people that, like, I've seen it with Star Wars. I've seen it with this, and like I'm surprised I haven't seen one with D&D yet. I'm sure there's one out there that just hasn't crossed my table. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That it's like we need a petition to keep it open. It's like this is a private corporation.
Yeah.
It would only work internally. Like if someone started a
Right.
petition internally, and even then that can get shot down unless it's like union or something.
Right, and even
Which I
then
doubt
that
it
can get
is.
shot down.
Yeah, it does. It's Wizards of the Coast.
Like
They're not big enough to have a union.
This is the kind of thing that even like I've thought about it like as a career that I would love to work with D&D.
Just games.
Yeah, we've been trying to make a game. We haven't worked on it in a few months.
We haven't.
But
We came up with our own dice system. It's really cool.
right, yeah, we're proud of what we have done. And there's all these people that have
Mini,
worked with
right?
D&D, huh?
What? No, this is our Western game that we're
Yeah.
Oh.
Mini Melee is D&D.
Mini Melee's D&D. What if
And we're
that
not
got
saying
big?
that like the dog on you. I'm saying that it's like the emphasis on Dungeons and Dragons being like the end all be all of games, tabletop wise,
Right.
in terms of an RPG style.
It's the one that got many things popular.
Right. Without it, there's a lot of things that wouldn't exist. And without war games, D&D wouldn't exist. You know what I mean? So it all comes back to a weird full circle.
War games?
War games, war tabletop games.
Oh, I thought you meant like War Games the movie. I was like, what the fuck does that have to do with
Yeah, not the
D&D?
movie. I mean like actual like tabletop
I was
fighting
I was
of like
I was like, if
little
you're talking,
army
like,
guys.
If you're talking like PC gaming,
Which
as a
there's
thing,
I
then
don't remember
yeah,
which
I'll-
sci-fi author it is, but like
I have no clue. I couldn't even guess.
they wrote volumes on like different editions of books about wargaming on tabletop. It's like without that kind of game, that wouldn't exist, and arguably, that's just like
And without just replica scale models, those wouldn't exist.
right. Without all these things intersecting with each other, there's a community that's generated and became so massive. It's
I feel like D&D and like this whole tabletop game, like tabletop RPGs, is just like the biggest community that's not mainstream.
right.
But like
'Cause you-
D&D's
you
coming
know
more
someone that
mainstream.
plays games
Right,
on a
but-
tabletop,
Yeah.
even if it's D&D or not. Like if it's a card game, that's still there because of how popular this is.
Mhm.
Card games would always exist, but we're not talking, just a
We're not
full
talking about,
house.
yeah.
We're talking about like your stupid little cat sushi game. You know what I mean? It's just
Yeah.
like I don't
Exploding
think that would
kittens.
exist without the
What-
world of
What was that one
industry.
game we played with Logan? It was like you chose like the lizard folk, the kitties. Root.
There's even an RPG version of that.
Really?
I've also went to the store in Lawrence that has like 5 different expansions for that game, and it's like, sweet Jesus, I'm
I
going
want
to make horrible financial decisions.
It's a fun game.
And they all come with boards, they all come with support, and all this kind of stuff, and all these pieces. So each box is like $60.
You're like, I'm gonna do something bad.
I'm gonna do something horrible.
It's like,
They got
Thank
the
you,
river
sir. Have a
folk
nice
thing.
day.
It's like me
They've
doing
got
too.
all robots.
like me making poor financial decisions in the name of video.
Yes,
and then not making videos.
Yes.
which I've been doing.
I
My
do that.
my GoPro.
Guys, I have a whole YouTube channel with 212 subscribers that hasn't been posted on in a year.
Well, because you've been doing this.
Yeah, but I
That's-
can
yeah,
still be
that's true.
doing that. I don't really. This doesn't really take up a lot of my time.
I'm thinking about getting my own,
Takes
like a
up
better
mine.
camera. I wanted to get a better phone. That's a book. I want to.
I want to get a better phone because
Yeah,
the
it's
current
like
phone I
just
have
to
is
my
a book.
This is how I message my friends.
I have to write this down and I
Swap
snap
out my
it to my
messenger
my
pigeon.
cat dog's leg, and he runs
Yeah, I write this message and put it in a little tube, and then put it in my cat, and then
in
just-
your cat.
in the cat,
cat.
and just send her on her way.
Hope she poops in the right place.
Yeah, if she doesn't crap in just the right vicinity, no one's getting this message that my family's locked in a basement.
God damn.
That got really weird, and I don't know why that's what came out of my
We're
mouth.
in the tunnels.
They're in the walls.
He's in the walls.
He's in the walls.
He's in the goddamn wall.
Yes, Connor?
Oh God.
Not following that one.
I'm not
I'm
following.
not doing it.
I tried to stop myself. You were like, "Yes, Connor," and I was like, "I had to do it."
But yeah, like
We love, all,
YouTube.
we love all people here. We just make stupid jokes. We love you.
Except
true.
for Nazis.
We don't.
We,
Yeah,
we don't
like
love Nazis. We don't love Nazis.
I'll show you what Jack.
There's
Kirby
a lot
would
of people
do.
included on that. We love all people, Connor.
Yeah, all people. All is a
all
big
the
thing.
nice ones. All the nice people.
I was about to say.
You heard it here, folks. Connor loves Nazis.
I'm cutting that the fuck out.
Hello there, listeners. Connor here, using a text-to-speech because I think it's funny and I can't find the cable to connect my microphone. Though what Gary said is very, very obviously a joke, Spotify and YouTube algorithms might not think so. I do not, I repeat, do not, like Nazis. I would cut this or bleep it or write a caption, but I decided to do it this way because it is a funnier way to do it, and I also realize that some listeners aren't actively watching the video and only listening, so a caption wouldn't be seen. This also lets me voice an excellent message to you all: fuck Nazis. It is a travesty that they still exist, and we must do everything in our power to kill these hateful ideologies. Thank you, and enjoy the rest of the episode.
Oh, that's funny though. It's a joke. We don't mean it.
I'm still cutting it out.
I will fight Nazis.
I'm gonna
cage
I'm gonna
match.
save that clip and I'm gonna send it to any potential future employer of yours.
I just like to think that we keep this part in.
Yeah.
So that way there's no context of what we said.
Yeah, I'll probably bleep it out.
I like the idea of just like random things that are bleeped, like literally random.
Yeah.
Like mundane things, like nothing that sounds horrible, like saying I like marshmallows, and then people are like, "What?" Like just bleep it, and the conversation's normal.
Mm-hmm.
Like everyone acts like it's normal,
God, bleep
but it's
is
just
such a
random
pain in
bleep.
the ass.
Oh, it
What's
is.
our timestamp?
Right now we're at
46.
46:19.
Okay.
Bleeping's easy. You just cut out the audio that you want bleeped, and then you go to
I know, but,
YouTube.
like-
You go to YouTube's. It's a computer website because all websites are on computers, and you type in, you copy paste the link, and then you take the link that you got the sound effect off YouTube, and then you just take the audio from that and you put it underneath.
I know how to do it, Gary.
It's just
I'm the editor.
It's a process.
But I know how to do it too, Connor.
I
I'm
know.
the backup. I'm the bench warmer editor
I'm working on it.
for the rainy day.
I want to get editing software. I don't know which one to get.
No, you're the social media person.
Well, yeah, but if I want to like also have my own YouTube channel,
Oh.
which I want to do.
Oh,
It's
it's not hard.
Yeah, I need to be able to have like a camera, nice microphone, something like this.
You don't want something like this.
Well, yeah, maybe something slightly better, but like this works. You know what I'm saying?
No, you don't. You don't want a microphone like this, because it's very much focused on talking right into it. You want a microphone like the
like a lav.
like the one, not a lav, or the one that's on my desk.
So that way you could sit further from it,
Mhm.
Yeah.
or just get a.
Well,
it's good for one person.
yeah, it's good for one person.
what
Not
I'm
good
saying.
for freaking 6 people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
We learned that the hard way.
that's what I'm saying. We need to invest in lavs.
No, I still like what happened though. Is that for like weeks, I was like, yeah, we're good to use this microphone. Yeah, we're good to use this microphone. Night of, I don't know if it's gonna work, and it's like, God damn it, Gary. Looks me dead in the eye. He's like, I don't think it's gonna work, and it's like, that's like if I built a house and I did the plumbing, and he was
And
like,
then
yeah, that
you-
looks good, and then we turned the water on. He's like, yeah, it doesn't work. It's like, why didn't you tell me?
No. It's like you build a mansion and you're like, oh shit, I made it out of asbestos.
Yes.
God damn it. Yeah, you can't live here.
Yeah, this works for fire retardant, right? And he's like, yeah, it works. No, it doesn't.
I'm crying.
Because it's like, we spent so long, and it was just like in that amount of time, and he was like, it could have, the ideas of something going wrong could have been brought up.
But I like to keep it spicy.
That's not spicy when you also look in my eyes so solemnly, and you're just like, oh yeah.
I was up until like 3 in the morning editing. Well, no, I was up until 3 in the morning exporting. I had gotten the actual edit done at like 10, and then it just wasn't exporting. It turned out that I didn't have enough space on my drives because I hadn't transferred a lot of stuff to the external that we have. So I was like, it would get to the very end, and then it would fail. And I was like, God damn it!
Yeah, there was a moment where I honestly thought that there's a chance that it like might not upload on time,
It was there.
which was going to be understandable because it was long as all get out.
It was 4 hours. I've only edited like hour-long content. I broke it up, but like,
Right, it's
Should've-
still.
Broke it up between a couple days rather than the night. Not the night before, but the night that you did it.
like I did kind of
Like editing
Oh.
wise, he did.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like,
It's the uploading part that
Yeah.
was just like that was the.
Well, it's the longest video on our channel now.
It
Yeah.
is,
And
and I
it's-
think it only has like.
It has like 70-something views.
No, I thought it had like 40 maybe.
No, it has like 70-something.
Does it?
Well,
Because it's the number 2 in the last 10 videos right after the Avatar.
Because like
movie.
people will
That doesn't
watch
take
a little
much,
bit
though.
of it.
40. Oh yeah, it's at 49.
That's what I'm saying. It
Dude,
kind of blows it out of the water
our
when the Avatar one's
one
like.
is at 170 now.
I was really hoping that you were about to say 180. I was like, yes, it went up 10 since this morning.
Oh, I haven't seen it. Are you just continuously updating?
Yeah, I'm
looking at
continuously
this?
checking because it's just like I find it odd that video did so well, and it's just because of the algorithm blessed it.
I think it's just because this thumbnail that Connor used.
Yeah, it works.
Honestly,
It's just a movie poster.
yeah. I really should have put more thought into it because I feel like if someone big sees it and like it's like someone made that for like a movie trailer, we're gonna get like a slap on the wrist. But
I don't know if we would because of it might fit into fair use laws
But-
because we don't claim to own it.
yeah, my thing is like
And we're not we're fucking we're perfectly fine because we're not making any money off of this.
yeah we have not monetized this at all.
Yeah, we need to have how many subscribers? What is it? 1,000
So we need to have 1,000 subscribers
and
we need
4,000 watch hours.
which we are at 311, which is way more than my.
Yeah, that's
YouTube
more than I
channel.
would have thought.
Well, it's because we post like hour-long videos, and we have like 70
True.
something of them up on our channel.
Hopefully, more content to come.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
I
have
think
some.
we
I
need
have
to
something in
just
the pipeline. I'm
Start
not
spearheading
saying what it
mini
is.
melee.
Yeah, we got to finally. Before we do anything else besides any independent projects, Mini Melee we need to finish. We need to find some miniatures to actually work for Mini Melee.
I think we just need to make it,
True.
and then you need to figure out the printer situation.
I'm not even convinced about actually printing some of these right now. It's like I just need a Hodozi miniature. I can put some little
You can
armor
go
on it.
There's a mini website you can go on.
I could also probably
Sells
just check
D&D
the local
minis.
gaming
It's where
stores.
I bought my owl. No,
like
it's
a
where I
cat,
bought my
I think.
no. It's where I bought my owl.
Your familiars.
The owl that I used for Sindri.
It was the familiars pack.
Yeah.
And WizKids does have a direct shop for this kind of stuff.
Right.
And I think
I
they
bet they
have like a
have.
Spelljammer shop of like things that are pre-painted, which not a problem. I'll fix it. I'll take care of it. But we just have like a Hodozi paladin that needs to be, a Hodozi.
And a paladin.
Yeah. The paladin part we can figure out. As long as we have a miniature that represents what we're actually doing.
Mine literally just needs to be a red dude with black hair and somewhat skinny.
Right. And I've got a werewolf miniature, so that part's taken care of.
Mhm. Yeah. It's going to be awesome. Anyway, I think
The secret
this is
fabulous
a good
powers
place
of D&D characters.
This is a good place to end right now.
Yeah.
So I think we're out of time for this week's episode of the podcast. Please make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Please make sure to like if you haven't already. Please make sure to go down in the comments and comment the secret word, which is...
I was going to say plug Spotify. That's not the secret word, but plug Spotify.
The secret word is Spotify.
Secret word Spotify. Secret word is OGL, Open Gaming License.
Okay, there you go. Go type down to the comments, type OGL. Go over to our Spotify and follow so you don't have to sit down and have YouTube open while you're listening to us. You can go over to Spotify and you could do anything you want with our beautiful voices in your ears.
Yeah.
Or
Mow
on
the
your
lawn.
Alexa.
Shovel something.
Alexa! Did I get anyone? Okay. Anyway, guys, thank you.
Alexa, play Despacito.
Stop. Well, thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.